So, are you so attached to your own desired outcomes that you're actually blocking your blessings? So, this is something I've been thinking about because we so often have very fixed ideas about how we want things to turn out. But one thing about life is we can't control what comes up. We can't control what happens, and my life experience has really shown me that very, very clearly. All we can do is interact with the circumstances that we face and decide how we want to meet those moments and those things. And sometimes if we have these really strict ideas and rigid ideas about what we want the outcome to be, how we think life is going to turn out, we find ourselves ending up feeling just super frustrated all the time because life isn't meeting our expectations. But what if you were blocking your own blessings because of that rigidity? What if your fixed desires are stopping what the universe, what the great spirit of life wants to allow to come in to your field, to your experience? What if you've effectively got imagine a cloche. You know, the things that they put over meals when you get room service. It's like you've got one of those on top of your spirit. Imagine standing in this glass dome and you've put the dome on top of yourself and you've got these ideas of how life should go and you want to expand and you want to feel the fullness of life, but you're constantly bashing your head on the top of this glass cloche that you've put there. The universe is so expansive, possibilities are so expansive, so when you're super fixed on your outcomes, bang against the cloche. What if you were to take the cloche off and just trust in life, trust in what is wanting to come to you, and allow yourself to explore what it would be like to just surrender perhaps to life's plan and to see what unfolds, but by taking those conscious and mindful decisions along the way. So if you have got, okay, so here's an example. When I was going through the process of writing my book, before it became a formed idea, when I was exploring how I was going to present this book to the world, I had this really rigid idea of what it was going to look like, how it was going to sound, what I was going to say. And part of me was not quite comfortable, or I still had some coming out of the spiritual closet to do. So I was holding back because I was scared of what people might think about the spiritual aspects. I was scared of being judged by religious communities, or, you know, people thinking that what I'm speaking about spirituality is negative because it falls outside of religious teachings, because it kind of expands. Just dropping my notes, because it expands and it goes beyond kind of what we're told to think and how we're told to think, and it's exploring some of these ideas that can be looked down upon by religious groups. And I'm not particularly religious. I grew up in my dad was Church of England, so I was christened Church of England. My mum was raised Catholic, so we had that lineage. My grandparents were churchgoers, so it was always sort of there in the background. And when I first started having spiritual experiences as a child, it was difficult to navigate, because the only field of reference that I had for that was through the religious narrative. So when I'm seeing lights and hearing voices and experiencing the feeling of spirit in my room at night, and you go and start telling that to the grown-ups who only know spirituality through religion, and if it isn't God, then what is it, you know? So I ended up sleeping with my little bottle of holy water and a mini Bible next to my bed, hoping that it would all go away. So when it was time to, over the years, I've had a sense that I should be sharing what I've learned and the things that I've gone through, and there's just been that push to take me in that direction. But for so long I wasn't willing to be totally authentic with the truth, by suppressing this spiritual aspect and only putting forward a portion of what I felt comfortable in sharing. So in that, I was finding things weren't quite going as far as I would hope, or I wrote my proposal, for example, and it got rejected, and I was gutted because I was like, inside I was convinced, like, because everything had aligned so synchronistically, I was like, this is really divinely orchestrated. So when my proposal got rejected, I was like, what do you mean my proposal got rejected? Like, this is supposed to happen, like, it's divine, I can feel the energy, you know what I mean, this is what's supposed to be going on. What I didn't see at the time, because I was being so wounded by the sense of rejection, was that actually I wasn't going deep enough. I wasn't bringing the full truth to the manuscript or to the proposal. And because such a huge part of my healing journey has been because of the spiritual aspects of life. And it's like with life, you know, you get so far with using counselling and psychology tools, but when I then stepped up back into my spiritual self, following my spiritual guidance, like expanding that part of my consciousness, that's when everything began to really transform. So how can I be teaching a half-truth for the sake of my own comfort, when the real mission here is to be as transparent as possible, share the truth, as uncomfortable as it might be, as embarrassed as I might feel, as much as people might give me the side eye. My duty is to share the truth so that others can find that within themselves and within their own experience, and that they can then go on to feel all the incredible changes, transformation, opportunities, things that just come into alignment for you when you do expand your perception and your consciousness. So when I revisited my proposal after having that rejection, I kind of sat with myself for a long time, and I sat with the idea of, well, in fact, it was the managing director of the publishing company encouraged me to be more myself, to be more authentic, because through the stories I was telling, you could pick up that there was a spiritual aspect. But she kind of encouraged me, Michelle, bless you, Michelle, thank you for that, to just be more of myself. So I went away and I sat down and I just let myself expand into the fullness of my experience. And then I went too far because I was writing down every single idea that I'd ever learned, but then I had to rein it back in and refine it. But in allowing that expansion, in allowing myself to take that cloche off of, well, we'll only speak about it from a psychological perspective, we'll only speak about growth and transformation, as far as counselling will let me speak. But then when I took off that cloche and opened up to the universe, then things really did start to align. So I'm wondering where in your life you might be blocking your own blessings by having very fixed ideas on what the outcome should be. You might also find that if you've got a very specific idea of the sort of partner that you want, and you're really rigid about that, and I'm only going to date people like that, that you then might be blocking your own blessings, because sometimes I think that we know best, and so often there is a divine plan. And I think it can be quite arrogant of us as humans to think that we know it all, when we're effectively like less than grains of sand in this huge energetic experience that we live within this universe. And whatever is beyond that, this whole infinite existence, we can't even comprehend it, can we? Yet here we are, thinking that we know it all, thinking that our ideas are the right ideas, and within that we shall stick. But what if you were to allow yourself to surrender? And it's a humbling process, because you do have to examine your ego. You have to look at all the ways this little human part of us wants to keep control. There's this one aspect of us, the ego, that is like, this is how it's going to be. You know, I'm not going to accept anything less, and my idea is the right idea, and I know it all. But what if you didn't? What if you didn't? What if you allowed yourself to be open? What if you allowed yourself to be a student, and to be willing to learn, and to be willing to meet the things that come up in life, and with a sense of curiosity, and not a know-it-all, You know, I've been there in the past when, say, for example, I did all of my counselling studies and then I got offered a course of counselling. I was like, well, you know, what else can they teach me? But actually, each therapist brings with them their own unique life experience, all of the different clients that they've seen, the wisdom that that's helped them to have. So yeah, you might think that you know it all, but do you? Can you be willing to like humble yourself a bit and just see life itself as a teacher for all the bits that don't go right and the bits that do go right, and it's especially the bits that don't go right that help us to really open up and think, well, how could this be different? How can I think differently about this? How can I, as a human, meet these experiences and expand into them even more? How can I get to know myself even more deeply? How can I humble myself in this experience and see what it's here to teach me? So just have a little think about some of the ways in your life that you might be sitting under that cloche. What are you so fixed on that you might be blocking your blessings? Because if you've got this fixed idea of the sort of house that you want to live in, and you're finding that it's not aligning, or you know, you're going for a specific job and it's just not working out, is it because there's something else that you need to know about yourself? Is it because there's a way that you can be even more authentic as you present to life? Just see it as an open invitation. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about life, is when we let ourselves be curious. And you know what, it's like now when I go back and I read that proposal that I was telling you about, that first proposal that I thought was the one, and it was like, yeah, this is so aligned, and then I read it back now. I can't even read it back. I'm cringing. I cringe at it. I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah. But it was there as an experience to teach me. And once I got over the tears of the sense of failure and allowed myself to just humble myself in the moment and be like, okay, what is the invitation in this moment? What is this opportunity providing me with? The chance to look at yourself even more deeper and just ask. You can even journal about it. It's like, how can I bring even more of my true self into this? How can I surrender a little bit more my own ideas of what I think is right, especially if you keep finding yourself in resistance to what you think is right? Like, explore that resistance, explore what it is that you're banging up against, and just be curious, because through curiosity many wonderful things can emerge. Another thing that you can do is just sit down with the intention of exploring this glass cloche that you might have put over yourself. Think about the world inside of this cloche. What does it look like? How are you experiencing it? What are some of the thoughts that keep you stuck here, and the limitations that you put on in terms of your expectations, how you think life is going to go? And then allow yourself, just by closing your eyes and taking a breath, you can imagine just taking this cloche off and take a breath right into the bottom of your stomach and really feel the expansion. Because when you take that deep breath, you can almost feel your energy expanding, and allow yourself to expand out beyond those limits and just explore what else might be out there for you in this wild, infinite universe with all of these magical possibilities. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Just a few thoughts about how we might be limiting ourselves, how we might be blocking our own blessings, and how when we allow ourselves to trust the path and to delve deeper into our authenticity, even if it makes us feel uncomfortable, even if others might look at us sideways, how can we just honour our truth in a way that allows us to emerge into more of who we really came here to be? So, wishing you peace, wishing you a beautiful week ahead. Come and connect if you feel called to do so. You can find me on Instagram at Zoe E.Fox, and I will drop the links in the description. Big love, peace out, and I will catch you next week.